Hey friends, it is Rick Lozano. I'm the owner of Unlock and Amplify, a talent development company. I'm also a musician, a keynote speaker, and the author of the forthcoming book, Acoustic Leadership: Developing a Leadership Culture That Resonates. But I'm not here to talk about leadership today. No, I'm here to talk about the ATD TechKnowledge conference that took place in San Jose earlier this year, when the world was a lot different than it is now. I had the great pleasure of acting as the MC for the whole conference, but I also facilitated a session called From Opening Acts to Encores, and it was all about how we create engagement and interactivity in the learning process before, during, and after an actual training event. And a few of the ideas we discussed had to do with one of the most useful and powerful and flexible learning tools in the world, a tool you and your participants have in your pocket, your phones. And more specifically, the ability to record video on it. So how can we use video in training? Well, let me tell you, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be expensive, but it can be a lot of fun and a great way to drive interaction and learning. So here are 3 ideas. Feel free to use them as is or as creative fodder for your learning programs. First, let's start before training. One effective strategy that I used when I was facilitating a presentation skills workshop was a week or so in advance. I would have the participants record some selfie videos of them just explaining to me what they wanted to get out of class. Simple, right? It was actually amazing though. So person after person would show up in my class going, oh man, I had to do it over and over and I hated the way I said this and I did this. Think about this. This is a presentation skills workshop and 17 times before the session even began, people were practicing the skills that we were trying to reinforce. Before the class even started, they were already driving that learning, right? Talk about priming the pump. What if you did this with coaching skills? What if you did this with customer service interactions, sales training? There's lots of possibilities to get people doing the activities you need them to get better at before the session even begins. Okay, what about during the session? What if instead of, for example, role plays, we used video? So many training programs, and we know this, right? Reinforcements and practicing the skills are really important, but role plays were a pain. We would have to distribute out the information and everyone would play their part and then we'd be relying on people's acting skills and it was kind of a distraction and a waste of time. Instead, why not use video? I facilitated a class called Giving and Receiving Feedback, and what I would do is I would just capture some cheap video of some of my colleagues demonstrating a scenario, right? So for example, in one role play or one video, they had a less than friendly conversation and the person watching had to watch that, figure out what was going on, what was on and off target, and then they had to turn right around and deliver that feedback. So what do we learn from that? So rather than having to set up this elaborate role play that may or may not work, in real time, they had to practice 2 things, not just the skill of giving feedback, but paying attention and finding out, observing what is actually going on and what's not. We were interleaving multiple skills in context in real time. So again, other ways that you could do that, also sales training, those kinds of things might be a great way to use video in class as well. Finally, what about after training? So often we finish our training programs and boom, that's it. People go off and they forget. But we know as learning professionals that reinforcement is required and practice is required to continue to embed those skills. Some ideas would be to take selfie videos of yourself and just reuse those and send them to participants, maybe automated in the LMS after the fact. And it's perhaps a 60-second video of you saying, oh, hey, we talked about this. This is why it was important to you. This is why you liked it. Tell me how your progress is going, that kind of stuff. And people are more likely to watch a quick video than they are to listen or to read a whole email. So reinforce the learning with cheap, simple selfie videos. Have them send videos of themselves practicing. Lots of ways that we could do it using only phones that are ubiquitous and most of all, free. At least free to record the videos. So those are just a few ideas. My name is Rick Lozano, and you can find out more about me if you go to ricklozano.com or unlockandamplify.com and be on the lookout for the book, Acoustic Leadership: Developing a Leadership Culture That Resonates. It'll be out hopefully by the end of September. Thank you.